So during these last couple of weeks, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been paying attention to this channel, other channels perhaps, or social media in general, you may have noticed this trend we are now seeing within women's volleyball, where more and more teams are starting to pull out and refusing to compete against San Jose State University because they have something that is so stunning, so brave, so progressive. Yes, they have a biological male on the team. We first saw Southern Utah come out and say, hey look, we're not going to compete against this team. We then saw Boise State come out and say the same, and now we have a third team who has just announced that they too will not compete against San Jose State University. So huge news. But in this video I won't only be talking about that, because it seems like the trend just doesn't stop at women's volleyball. Oh no, because we have another story going around surrounding girls football, because a few girls decided to stand up and say enough is enough and refuse to compete against another team that once again has a male identifying as a woman on their team. But remember, according to woke leftist liberals, the issue of men competing against women in their sports, it doesn't exist. People are making it up. It's an exaggeration. Well, yeah, I think these people need a lot of help. Massive understatement. Now, before I get into all of this, if you could, as always, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Comment on this video, share this video around, follow my socials down below in the description, and let's start off with women's volleyball, as Outkick have reported. Wyoming joins Boise State and Southern Utah in refusing to compete against SJSU and trans volleyball player Blair Fleming. For a second time in the past week, a women's college volleyball team has refused to compete against San Jose State, which has a transgender player in its starting lineup. The University of Wyoming announced in a statement that the team would forfeit its Saturday match against SJSU, which has a biological male, Blair Fleming, on its team. Last week, Boise State forfeited against San Jose State, accepting a loss in the process. Previously, Southern Utah refused to face SJSU in a non-conference match as part of the Santa Clara tournament, and here is a statement from the University of Wyoming. They go on to say the following: after a lengthy discussion, the University of Wyoming will not play its scheduled conference match against San Jose State University in the UniWire Sports Complex on Saturday, October 5th. Per Mountain West Conference policy, the conference will record the match as a forfeit and a loss for Wyoming. The Cowgirls will host Fresno State on Thursday, October 3rd at 6:30 p.m. in the UniWire Sports Complex. So what we're clearly seeing is more and more teams not putting up with this nonsense. They are not going to compete against a male on a women's team. And by the way, this team that has the biological male on is 10-0. 10-0. Now, obviously, the forfeits are adding to that, but before that, they were already undefeated. Complete insanity. Now, yes, these girls shouldn't have to forfeit in a normal world. They have sacrificed a lot. They work extremely hard, but they are coming up against an issue that unless they stand up and say, hey look, we're not going to do this anymore, it will continue to get worse. I stand by every single team, every single athlete who refuses to play, who refuses to take part in this delusion that is going on. It takes a lot of courage, especially in this time today where just simply saying a man cannot become a woman gets you cancelled. Crazy, I know, but these girls, these athletes, once again, should be applauded. But earlier this season, and get this, Fleming was named to the all-tournament team in the Hawkeye Invitational. San Jose State went 3-0 to capture the championship. How progressive, how stunning, how brave. San Jose State ended up sending a statement to Outkick following the Wyoming forfeit announcement. It is disappointing that our SJSU student athletes who are in full compliance with NCAA and Mountain West rules and regulations are being denied opportunities to compete. Let me get my violin out. We are committed to supporting our student athletes through these challenges and in their ability to compete in an inclusive, fair, safe, and respectful environment. But when the NCAA allows males to compete against females, having the chance of a fair, safe environment gets thrown out of the window. And this buzzword, by the way, inclusive, or when people say inclusion, I tell you now, it does my absolute head in, because today's inclusion means allowing trans athletes to compete against women because they simply identify as that gender. If a boy says, hey look, I'm identifying as a woman, whatever, then by the standards of inclusion today, they have to compete against women. Otherwise, it's bigotry, it's hatred, it's transphobic. Shut the front door. Now, as this news is breaking all over the internet, people like Riley Gaines, as you would imagine, have responded to this news, and she goes on to post the following on X. Let's go. University of Wyoming is the third school to forfeit their match because they have a man on their women's team. This is the way. Do not comply. Major kudos to Wyoming Volleyball, Broncos Sports, and SU Volleyball. Governor Mark Gordon says, I am in full support of the decision by Wyoming Athletics to forego playing its volleyball match against San Jose State, it is important we stand for integrity and fairness in female athletics. And the thing is, when you sit here and think about it, this is a lot more than just standing up for fairness. Of course, it's an important aspect, but it goes a lot deeper than that. What these girls are doing when they refuse to compete is they are standing up for truth, reality, common sense. These things, I cannot stress enough, are so important, we all know, to keep alive within society today, because the woke establishment are trying very, very hard to erode all of these things so they can then enforce and then push all of this woke delusion we see going on today. People need to stand up for the truth. This is the way we bring sanity back to this world. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's not only in women's volleyball girls are refusing to compete, we are also seeing in girls soccer they're doing the same. So NH have reported Hillsborough Deering girls players refused to take field against a male on Tuesday. Several members of the Hillsborough Deering High School girls soccer team refused to play against the Kearsarge team Tuesday due to safety concerns over Kearsarge's star athlete, surprise, surprise, biological male, Mael Jacquez. This isn't about transgenderism, this is about biology for us and the increased physical risk when playing a full contact sport against the opposite sex, said Heather Thine, a mother of a Hillsborough Deering player. At least 5 girls on the varsity squad skipped the game at the Kearsarge Regional High School, according to Hillsborough Deering parent Betsy Harrington. With 17 varsity players on the roster, Hillsborough Deering was forced to use JV players in order to play the game. The Hillsborough girls can't even get down to the field without any of their best players. It's one-sided, Harrington told NH Journal. Jacquez played in goal for most of the game but was pulled off their field with 10 minutes left after having nothing to do. No one ever got near Mael, so I guess they'll never be in any danger if there's enough girls to always have a weak team, Harrington said. If every game has a few players refusing to play, we will never know the ability of the Kearsarge team. They have an advantage I hadn't thought about, is that they get to always play a crippled team without all of their players. Thine stood by her daughter's decision since players like Jacquez should not be competing against girls, she said. We believe, my daughter included, that refusing to compete is the best way to push back on this issue. We believe, my daughter included, that refusing to compete is the best way to push back on this issue. That is absolutely amazing to hear. The fact that her daughter also agrees with this just shows you where we're at with this whole situation. And we are hoping parents will be more willing to put themselves out there, knowing they don't have to be the first or the only family within our community to do so. Thine is also concerned that her daughter and other players could be hurt playing against Jacquez, a nearly 6 foot tall biological male. Scenarios like tonight's soccer game where girls would be forced to play contact sports against biological males were interestingly supposed to be a thing of the past after Governor Chris Sununu signed HB 1205 this summer. So how were they allowed to compete? The law requires all school athletes from 5th grade through high school to compete on teams that correspond with their biological sex at birth. But the Kearsarge School Board voted this summer to ignore the law in order to allow Jacquez to keep playing. What? You have got to be kidding me. They voted against the law just so this male could keep on playing. Nah, get out of here, man. These people are as woke as they come. These woke activists need to get a grip. Jacquez is well known in the New Hampshire high school reports, having already won first place in the girls' high jump competition earlier this year, and I believe I actually reported on that story, beating every female in the New Hampshire Interscholastic Athletic Association Indoor Track and Field Championship. What? This is absolutely insane. 2 New Hampshire transgender athletes, Parker Tyrrell and Iris Tomel, are challenging the law in federal court and have so far won an injunction to allow them to play on girls' teams. What? But that order does not apply to any other student in the state, including Jacquez. The team's coaches told Tyne that neither her daughter nor any other player who boycotts the game will suffer retaliation as a result. Now that is good to hear, because sometimes we do hear about people who have boycotted the game or refused to compete facing consequences because it is bigotry, it is hatred, it is discrimination. Whatever else they want to call it. They understood the increased risk and would be paying attention to the aggressiveness of the game, and if anyone was getting hurt or play was too rough, they were prepared to end the game, Thine said. Well, that's good to hear. The Bow School District is facing a First Amendment lawsuit from parents who were punished for taking part in a silent protest at a girls' soccer game. The parents were hit with a no trespass order when they wore pink X wristbands to the game earlier this month. Now, I actually reported on that story a couple of days ago. Absolutely insane. Parents are now banned from attending for the whole season. Absolute disgrace. But nonetheless, it does seem like New Hampshire is going through a lot of issues when it comes to this whole situation. And perhaps, maybe if we just stuck to the biological facts of this world we live in, we wouldn't be going through this. We should not be putting the feelings of men in these situations ahead of reality, ahead of the girls who should only be competing against girls. Right, as I say all the time, it shouldn't be such a big request, but here we are where it seems like a load of girls out there just can't even get that simple right to play against other girls. So leave your thoughts down below, ladies and gentlemen, on these stories today. What are your thoughts on the volleyball team who refused to compete, and then also these girls who took a stand and also refused to compete in this soccer game? I'd like to know. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Comment on this video, share this video, follow my socials down below in the description. But until next time, it has been your host JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.